victory from the Prime Minister after news broke Canada would be spared from Donald Trump's most widespread tariffs yet, hitting almost every country in the world.
It will be negative on the U.S. economy. That will have an impact on us. But the series of measures will directly affect millions of Canadians.
Carney says Trump saved some of the Canada-U.S. relationship, but not all. Tariffs already in place remain. Others hit the auto sector overnight, and more could be coming.
We're going to fight these tariffs with countermeasures. We are going to protect our workers.
Carney pausing his campaign again to meet with his Canada-U.S. Cabinet Committee and advisors.
This should be very clear for Canada. The auto sector is hit very hard, and that is going to have a deep impact. It means that we're going to have to look at how we respond to that.
All of this unfolding on day 11 of the federal election race, pushing leaders to share their plans to take on Trump.
The president is betraying America's closest friend and attacking our economy, proving once again that Canada must end its era of overdependence and weakness. We must be an economic fortress that can defend itself, that can stand up for its own people and put Canada first.
The Bloc Québécois says Trump's actions could have been worse, while the NDP commented earlier in the day.
It's a day that Donald Trump's attacking our workers. And so we've got a message to Donald Trump. New Democrats and workers are going to fight back and defend our jobs and our country.
Mark Carney is meeting with premiers tomorrow and says after that he'll say more about how Canada will respond.
So Ashley, Carney already told Trump when they spoke on Friday that he will retaliate. So what's your sense of what we can expect now?
Yeah, Adrian, so far Canada's hit back with $60 billion worth of countermeasures and has identified another $95 billion worth on American goods that it could hit with tariffs. Sources say the government's trying to find a balance so it can exert maximum pain on the U.S. and minimum pain on Canada. Tonight we heard Carney promising to act with force after saying Trump fundamentally changed the world's trading system.
All right, Ashley Burke in Ottawa. Thank you. Tariffs dominated today's federal election campaign, and our reporters were on the ground with leaders of the main opposition parties.
I'm Evan Dyer covering the Conservative campaign, and Pierre Poilievre just wrapped another rally here in Kingston, Ontario, in front of a very large, enthusiastic and loud crowd. In fact, so loud that it crashed the cell signals in and around the building. He began his remarks by talking about today's announcement from the White House, what he called yet another unfair attack on Canadian workers. And he went on to give more or less his regular stump speech in which he talks about responding to those tariffs and to Donald Trump's economic approach to Canada by building an economic fortress, a strong, resource-driven Canadian economy that he says will not only protect Canadian workers, but also make the country immune to those kinds of attacks in the future.
I'm David Thurton in Winnipeg with the NDP. Jagmeet Singh is trying to stay in the tariff conversation. Singh called Trump an arsonist, setting fire to the North American economy. Now, Democrats largely stand with other political parties opposing Donald Trump, but Singh says his party has a unique vision for protecting workers, which others don't. Things like improving EI, getting rid of the GST on essentials, and price caps on grocery items. The Democrats would also protect key industries like electricity and critical minerals from foreign takeovers, all through what Singh is calling a no-trade clause.
Let's bring in CBC News' chief political correspondent, Rosemary Barton. So, Rosie, where does this leave things politically for the Liberal leader when it gets back to campaigning?
Yeah, Adrian, I mean, obviously what happened today helps reinforce the argument Mark Carney's been trying to make to Canadians, that he's the best suited to take on Donald Trump. He didn't declare any kind of victory because Canada avoided this 10% tariff, because there are, of course, still real threats, and he tried to spell those out for Canadians. The international trading system has been upended. Canada's still going to have these sectoral tariffs, and there will be a negative impact on the U.S. economy from these decisions that will also hurt Canada. So that threat of economic instability, also really helpful politically politically for Carney. Tomorrow, when he announces the government response, though, he'll need to make sure that he's offering enough support to the right regions and the right workers, and that if the government does go ahead with further counter tariffs, he'll need to make sure that they are not so significant that they provoke the president to change his mind and hit back further.
And then, of course, I mean, there are the other party's leaders, right?
Yeah, and this has been a challenge for them since the election started, really. The Conservatives in particular have been struggling to balance how much to talk about Trump versus affordability. We heard from Pierre Poilievre today with what I would say is probably his clearest plan on how he would deal with the president, namely push him to renegotiate the trade deal as soon as possible and trying to hammer home to Canadians that the Liberals have weakened the Canadian economy up to this point as further evidence they shouldn't get another mandate. But making that case as the Liberal leader has the benefit of acting in his role as Prime Minister is very difficult for the other parties.
All right, Rosemary Barton.